Hi, it's Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Here are blog posts we want to share with you. Of course, review the latest in social media. We're reviewing today. This is a versus comparison. Of course, all the major phone companies send us phones. This is a versus comparison between the Motorola Droid Razr Maxx HD. That's the Droid Motorola Razr Maxx HD. Awesome phone with the huge battery. Comes to us from Verizon at verizonwireless.com. That's verizonwireless.com. Be sure to say to our friends over there. And from t-mobile.com. That's t-mobile.com. This is the HTC 8X, and it's a Windows phone as opposed to the Motorola, which is an Android phone. We're going to do some comparisons a little bit. We can't run the same sort of benchmarking programs. A lot of the apps that we use on Android aren't available on Windows. So we're going to do the best we can. We'll show you some of the camera experience and what we think of it, and you can kind of compare it side by side and decide which one works best for you. So let's take a look at the dimensions on the Motorola. The Motorola is 5.19 in height, 2.67 in width, and 0.37 in thickness. The conversely, on the HTC 8X, it's 5.21 in height, 2.61 in width, and 0.40 in thickness. The Droid Razr has got a weight of 5.54 ounces, comparatively 4.59 ounces for the HTC 8X. On the Droid, we have a 3,300 milliamp hour battery, which is pretty freaking crazy. It's not removable, but it's a huge battery for a phone. It might be the largest I think I've seen, and it gives you great battery life as you would expect. On the 8X, we have an 1,800 milliamp battery, and that's pretty good for most cell phones. Most are about 1,500 or 1,300 right now, so that's a good area to be. With the Droid, you're looking at a display, which is an OLED full color resolution 720 by 1280 pixels, 4.7 diagonal screen, Super AMOLED. And on the HTC 8X, we're looking at a 720 by 1280 pixels, 4.3 inch screen, 342 ppi, 16.7 million colors, capacitive multi-touch screen. Now, on the Motorola, we're running Android 4.04, and on the 8X, we're running the latest version, Windows 8, that's just come out for the device. On the Motorola, the processor is a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core processor, very fast, 32 gigabytes of storage, 1 gigabyte of RAM, and you can add up to 32 gigabytes with a micro SD card. On the 8X, we're looking at a Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 dual-core 1.5 gigahertz Krauts. It's got 1,024 megabytes of RAM, 16 gigabytes of internal storage. There's no external storage or upgrade there on it. On the Droid, for the back of the camera eye, we're looking at an 8 megapixel camera, and on the front we're looking at 1.3 megapixel camera with a 1080p HD out the back, of course. And then on the 8X, we're looking at a 8 megapixel on the back. On the front-facing camera, it's 2 megapixels, and it's a 1080p HD 30 frames per second out the back, of course, for video. So that gives us a comparison between these two devices. I've used both, and I really like both of them. They each have their own things, and of course, they operate at different price points, which is also a thing that you have to consider when you look at both of these phones and how they price point out. Okay, so let's take a look at both devices and how they work and how they operate. Now, of course, we have a different sort of tile system on the HTC Windows operation, where with the Android you kind of have a flip system, and of course you can change wallpapers, you can do all sorts of different things. You have a whole manageable palette of places that you can take and have essentially a desk board or area of apps that you can take and use. One thing that's interesting about the Motorola Droid Razr Maxx HD is you can pull the left and you can actually get quick settings, where normally those are found in notifications in most Android phones up here at the top, or some Android phones I should say. So they put the notifications there, so you don't have an infinite swipe system with the Droid, but all the more easier to be able to deal with. It's up to you what your preference is. This, of course, is running on the iOS 4.04. Many people like the Android product and like the Android apps. There seems to be a whole lot more apps available on the Android as opposed to the Windows. But I think most people that buy the Windows phone are Windows-driven folks, and they're not maybe as app-centric, or they're happy with the apps. Most of the popular apps that are out there do seem to be on the Windows. I mean, the very popular apps, I should say. You can see here we've got the live tile effects where it has the live active tiles. It will show pictures, rotate your pictures if you choose it to, and everything else. You can see here some of the other toys. Now, to go to a list of apps, you page to the right. You can page down through them. Of course, you can hit C or D and get to different points in the area, and you can, of course, search here on the far right-hand side. They got a fairly good app store. I'm going to say fairly good. How about that? Where you can choose the apps, and you can see some of them here. They got an okay app store. It's a little harder to maneuver than what you would find with the Play Store, but like I said, this is once again is a product that's built for Windows people and the people that love the Windows sort of software experience. They've got Xbox integration, different things like that. So let's take a look at the top. On the top, we have the Motorola. We have a speaker for making calls, front-facing camera. We have some sensors. We have a capacitive touch screen for both the back button, home, and recent apps that you can take and utilize. That's pretty much it for the front. You can see it's got a big display. Front-facing camera here on the HTC 8X. We've got the, looks like an indicator or a sensor there at the very top above the speaker. And then we have the speaker for, of course, making calls. Down below we have a back button, a home button, and we have a search button. Let's go ahead and flip these puppies around so you can see how they look. Okay, so on the back we have this really kind of cool, kind of looks like bulletproof Kevlar material on the back. You've got your camera flash lamp there, a small microphone hole appears, and then you got your camera eye, a speaker right here. That's pretty much it. On the back of the HTC 8X, you've got a camera eye here. You got your lamp flash there. It does come with Beats audio, and there's a small speaker right here. Now, I do like Beats audio. It's a very cool feature of HTC phones because they own an interest in Beats audio. And it basically, once you plug an earphone into the jack, it will enhance the quality of your sound and kind of give it an equalized effect, if you will. Some people really like that sort of thing, so I do, and I think it's great. And if you have the Beats products, such as their headphones and Beat boxes and other different toys that the Beats company makes, certainly this integrates well with that. Let's take a look around and about on each device. On the Droid, you can see down here the side, we actually have a cable for sync charging, and then we also have a micro HDMI output, so you can output this to your TV, which is really cool. The other thing that we have is really interesting is in the case here, and we'd have to pop it out, but we have a SIM card area here, and we have a area for your micro SD card to expand the memory. So very interesting. It's both put in the same drawer that pops out, and you have to have the little, you can usually use like a little paper clip or something to pop it out, and they also give you one with the case. You can see at the bottom, nothing to see here except the screws. It's got this beautiful steel design that I tend to like, and it's got kind of a steel rugged sort of volume rocker button, which you have here, and then you've got your power button there. It's kind of a nice curved back. It feels good in the hand. For a phone that has a 3300 milliamp hour battery in it, it doesn't feel that heavy at all. You've got your earphone jack, of course, here at the top of the device. In taking a look at around the around the 8X, you can see here on the side, nothing really to see on the left side. On the bottom, we've got a small microphone hole and a charging sync jack. On the right-hand side, we've got your shutter button for the camera. We've got your volume rocker button, and then we've got a power button on the top and a microphone hole here and an earphone jack hole. Not real fond of this very small power button. Maybe that makes it easier to where it's not getting tagged all the time or used all the time, but it's really small and hard to get the power on and off. It's not really hard, but it's really small. You got to make sure you're pressing it just right. And I have very big fingers, so that may be part of that problem in being able to press on it and get it to activate. But it's really small. You got to make sure your finger's on it, otherwise you end up pressing on another part of the case. That's essentially what I'm trying to say. It kind of sits forward that way. So it's not a big deal. I just, for my big hands, I noticed it. So let's take a look at some of the camera. Okay, so let's take a look at the camera on the device. It's got an impressive camera to it. It definitely is a great camera. I'm very impressed. On the Motorola, let's take a look. You've got, of course, zoom over here where you can zoom in and out. You can also set up to where you can use the volume button for zoom. In settings, you've got some interesting settings here. You've got your widescreen for 8 megapixel. You can also click this and it will go to 6 megapixels to match the screen. Kind of interesting. You can see here you can also use the volume key function as zoom. You can geotag. You can pick your storage location and shutter tone if you want a shutter tone to be able to take and do. I thought it was kind of interesting. It actually defaulted to this 6 megapixel setup, and of course you can see it's the same for the 8 here. Of course, these are most of the things you get with most Android products. You've got pre-made effects you can take and put into play. You've got scenes you can take and do. The modes you can take and do. One thing that was kind of irritating, though, is it kept suggesting HDR mode in some cases, and I couldn't figure out a way to turn that suggestion off, which is really irritating. It's like a box that pops up here. It's probably the one thing I've kind of gone, what is that? The exposure here, of course, you can adjust, and of course you have your lamp exposure depending upon whether you're in shutter mode, camera mode, or video mode. As in this case we are in video mode, so let's go ahead and kill that light. You can see here we have several different functions. Of course, your normal video MMS, slow motion. That's kind of interesting. A lot of phones now are coming with features of slow or fast motion already built into where you don't need an app, so you've got slow motion mode, which is pretty cool there. You can see here HD video resolution you can adjust. Of course, you got zoom once again with the thing, and on the video resolution you can choose between a number of definitions depending upon what you want to fit your mode. You also have effects, of course, and you also have audio scenes that you can take and do. I guess set up stereo, wind reduction, or concert. I guess wind reduction would be good, and the concert too for that matter. And then of course the thing with the Droid is you can slide that to the side, and you've got that at your beck and call if you ever need it. Of course, you have your ability to switch between your front and back-facing cameras. You've got your shutter buttons here, your active record button. You can, of course, switch between your camera and your video there. Let's take a look. Now, the one part that we weren't excited about with the camera was it has a hard time taking really good pictures and focusing in the flash lamp complete darkness situation. So we took this in complete darkness. If you can't tell, it's actually a closet. Okay, this one was a picture that came out fairly well. We had trouble with some of the other ones that we were taking and doing with them trying to get focus sharply on the image. A lot of the images came out blurry. In video mode, it's got a really great lamp to it. And in the video mode, it's got an awesome lamp, and it picks up very well and just shines the room. Not quite totally excited about how well it focused during the whole time, but it did an okay job. The video lamp we were very much more impressed with. It's got a huge lamp to it, just lights up really well, and you can see the colors pop and come out very well. So the only thing we just really struggled with was the camera taking a picture with the flash. Now, let's take a look at some other pictures. Here, once again, we're trying to take pictures with the flash in the complete darkness. This is shot into the sun, so there's a little bit of darkness to this photo, but it takes great outdoor pictures. Very awesome, beautiful colors, everything else on it. We're very impressed with it. Here you can see that there's the video player that's going on with it is shot in a well-lit situation. It's got a very beautiful video player and very beautiful screens, colors. You can see here us using the zoom. The zoom's awesome to use. Very impressed with it. We really like the camera on the phone.
Here's another close-up shot. It takes really good close-up shots, and this was what really surprises about this video. This is a shot where I'm shooting probably an inch off of the wood, and most cameras can't handle getting this close unless you have a macro lens. This lens did really, really well. I was very surprised. And the Motorola camera is really good. You can tell, though, there's a lot of pickup of reds and greens. You'll see that also here in this photo, where it picks up a lot of reds and greens pretty heavily, very much darker than they really are. Here with the apple and the orange and our marble top in the kitchen, really, oh wow, it comes out heavy even in a well-lit situation. So that was one of the trade-offs. But yeah, it takes awesome close-up shots, great video lamp shots, beautiful shots otherwise in both video and photographs. The only place we saw a struggle, like I said, was shooting in the dark, complete darkness with the flash and being able to get the flash focus sequence down properly. But overall, just awesome camera work. Definitely, I would say this is in my top 3 or 5 cameras that I love to be able to use on a regular basis with the mobile phone, I should say.
Okay, so all in all, I've liked both devices. They both work incredibly well. The Motorola Droid, of course, is very super fast, super modern phone with the Android software on it. And, of course, the big battery, whipping fast processor. HTC is good. It has a much lower price point, of course, for the user. And, of course, it's geared towards people that like Windows and the Windows base. It's a good phone, especially in that market. For both phones, you can go to VerizonWireless.com. That's VerizonWireless.com. Get the Motorola Droid, Razr, Maxx HD. And, of course, we reviewed some of the other Razrs, so be sure to check out those reviews on the ChrisVossShow.com. You can go to t-mobile.com. That's t-mobile.com. Check out the HTC 8X and the Windows Phone, and decide what one works best for you in accomplishing what your goals are. Thanks for coming by. Be sure to check out both the companies. Thanks for letting us use the phone. Chris Voss tested, Chris Voss approved. Be sure to check back often. The ChrisVossShow.com.